Hey guys, Rachel West here along with Ed and Sina. And Ed, oh my gosh, so much to talk about. So much going on in the NHL, besides games, actually. Not too many games happening. A couple days ago, they announced that they were going to be going on pause. The Lightning game against Vegas last night was the final one before that. And it looked like the Lightning were in the clear, and one of the few teams that were in the clear when it comes to all the COVID cases. But then yesterday, they were hit with it as well. So just what's the landscape of the league like right now?
Yeah, so a lot to unpack here with everything that's gone on. The entire season's really the dynamic of the entire season's really changed over the past 8 days. And I was talking to John Cooper before they went out to Las Vegas. I asked him, how have you guys been able to dodge all this? And I also knocked on wood while I did that. And turned out that the first case of the Lightning's first brush with COVID and an official entering of COVID protocol from a player and staff member was John Cooper. So last night we found out probably about 2.5 hours before game time that he wasn't going to be available, that he was entering protocol, and he was not behind the bench. And assistant Derek Lalonde took over as the kind of the interim head coach. But they won 4-3 last night in what was the only game on the schedule that was actually played. The other 9 were postponed. So there's so much kind of uncertainty going on with the league as it enters the holiday break. Everything's hour to hour right now. So everyone's going to take a little bit of a break and kind of come back in a few days on Sunday, get tested, and hopefully everything starts to kind of get back to normal a little bit.
And because of all this uncertainty, that's led to the decision now that the NHL guys will no longer be going over to China for the Olympics. And I know, especially from some of the Lightning guys, there's a lot of disappointment there. Steven Stamkos, in particular, I know had touched on it yesterday.
Yeah, Steven Stamkos seemed to be pretty emotional about this, and you got to understand, rightfully so. He's won a Stanley Cup. He's won 2 Stanley Cups. He's won 2 Rocket Richard trophies. He's probably going to rewrite the Lightning record books by the time he's done playing, but he's probably not going to be able to say that he's played the Olympics and represented Team Canada in it. So I think over the course of the past few days, players saw that coming, but guys like Stamkos were still willing to kind of go there, even despite some of these strict protocols that might be in place in Beijing for players who maybe tested positive. You're talking about 5-week quarantine, stuff like that. So the guys like Stamkos, it was worth it for them. And Victor Hedman, another guy who hasn't played in the Olympics. And these guys are 30, 31 years old, and they might not get a shot at it again. So obviously unfortunate for those guys because they've been looking forward to this for a really, really, really long time. And Victor Hedman said, now, we focus on winning the Stanley Cup. Maybe that can be a good makeup for it.
Yeah, that wouldn't be a bad alternative for sure, but definitely a tough blow for them and for fans who are looking forward to seeing them over there. But now, once we, in a couple days, come out of this holiday break and this pause, hopefully things are on the upswing here and the league's looking a little better health-wise. So where do the Lightning stand?
Well, they've got to feel good about where they stand, at least in the standings, right? So, they go into the break 44 points, which is the most in the league. And obviously, you got to take it a little bit in stride because so many games have been postponed. So there's 50 games that they've got to make up. So a lot of that's going to come in February. But you also got to think about how, this is also going to be up to, the availability of the arenas. Now, luckily, Emily, I think there's only 2 events in February, so there should be pretty easy for them to restructure some of these games. But I think that's going to be kind of the toughest part. Good luck to the guys who have to reschedule some of these games in the league offices. But, the good thing for the Lightning is that they're going to get help when the break is over. Braden Point should be back, in the days after the break. Nikita Kucherov probably isn't very far behind. They played essentially most of the year without, 2 of their best players, and they're going to get those guys back. So I think the biggest concern for them is just kind of the uncertainty about the season in general. And, we know that the Omicron virus is spreading out everywhere, not just in hockey, but in other sports and around the world. So that's something that these guys know that they can't control. However, they do know that they've been able to kind of handle some of these obstacles. This is a team that obviously we've talked about many times, won the cup in the bubble. won the Stanley Cup in an abbreviated regular season where they didn't have, Nikita Kucherov for the entirety of it. So they've been able to overcome obstacles. It's a room that, really kind of, we heard, I think Steven Stamkos say the other day, they're the Tampa Bay findaways. And that's what they've done over the course of the first 2 months of the season. And no reason to really believe otherwise, that they won't be able to do it again, no matter what kind of obstacle, sits in front of them.
At this rate, I think the more weirdness, the better for them, maybe. Who knows? But we'll see how everything pans out, the season goes. Hopefully we can get things back on track here. So everyone, make sure you're keeping along with all of our coverage of all the weirdness over on social media at Sports by Tampa Bay Times, as well as TampaBay.com.